situation in which other counties are enjoying. Without further ado, it's your day. Asante sana kwa hii fursa na nikaongea kidogo.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Governors. Let me take this opportunity to now welcome the CS Water, Honorable Alice Waume, to make her remarks and take over the program from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PS Rono. Your Excellency, habari ya saa jioni? Hamjambo? I'm happy that you are still awake. It has been a long day. Thank you very much for being patient with us. Your Excellency, Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, but previously popularly known as Kadayawera, thereafter nicknamed and became popularly known as Ligiji. We want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for coming to this workshop, to open this workshop, Your Excellency. It's been a good afternoon. Your Excellency, I am aware that we did invite His Excellency, the President, together with you and other cabinet ministers. You have found time to come. We don't take that for granted. There was Muvuria here this morning. The governors present have been here because even though Governor Mombasa joined us this afternoon, he is the sponsor of some of our activities. And we have several PSAs who came in solidarity with our ministry. Thank you very much. The organizers, chairman, with your CEO, the heads of departments, some of them who are here. We have chairmen and CEOs of water development works. I know you are here. I don't really need to ask you to stand because I know you by face and by name. Asanteni sana for supporting WASPA. WASPA, you have done a great job, and I'm glad that you are able to bring over 1,000, that your projection was exceeded. And then in namna hiyo. Your Excellency, you know, as usual, they do official papers, small papers here, which can be very tiring. But I want to just quickly say, I will go with the protocols already observed in the interest of time. Allow me, Your Excellency, to say that I'm taking this opportunity to welcome everybody in the water sector for this water and sanitation conference, international conference and exhibition. We have over 80 exhibitions. Your Excellency, you have managed to visit just a few as a sign of commitment to their work. Your Excellency, the county government of Mombasa has been kind and warm. I take this opportunity to recognize that. Your Excellency, the theme is very clear here on the board, that the conference is about harnessing technology and innovation to accelerate access to safely managed water and sanitation. We have a big challenge in those two areas, Your Excellency. Water development requires huge investment in the infrastructure. Of course, where the government is in terms of physical space, taking into account the huge investment that we need in infrastructure, we have taken a bold step as a government, led by His Excellency the President, to agree to partner and invited partners in the private sector to be able to invest and break the myth that water is not bankable. Obviously, if you invested in water in Mombasa, in Kilifi town, the entire county, you will find that you will be able to pay. Your Excellency, I will take you to the question of why people have been thinking water is not bankable, the conference here has been told, and that is a fact, that non-revenue, or simple terms, lost water, not accountable, either has been lost through theft, leakages, inefficiencies, not working meters, or people putting money straight away into their pocket, inefficiencies, lack of good systems, old pipes, all those added together, Your Excellency, become non-revenue water at 50%. The people challenged with that restoration so that we can deal with that and reduce it to international standards, which I'm told is about 25. And I still believe we can do better. 25% is still very high. Your Excellency, is the water service providers. And this conference is therefore timely. It is their conference. They have been exchanging, and I know they'll be here for 3-4 days, exchanging ideas, knowledge and information, data, how data can help, how technology will come in place to sort out some of those problems. But of course, Your Excellency, the biggest asset that can sort out that problem also is simple, good governance practices. Who are your staff? What training do they have? Are they professional in their work? How often, what is their turnout? Are they doing regular courses? And are you interfering with their work or facilitating them to deliver? The county governments have that responsibility. They have partners who are willing to work with them so that, Your Excellency, where we stand at 70% coverage for access to water, safe drinking water, where we are at on coverage on sanitation at 32% in towns, where we are on sanitation in our communities and villages at 22%, a figure we cannot talk home about, then we need to be able to tell our governors that you have a huge task before you. You have commitment from the government, the national government, and of course, water development agencies. I have heard you, Governor, but I want to tell you that we shall be your partner in achieving SDG 6. Mwadime told us they are committed. He's here on behalf of Governor Anne Waiguru and the COG, and on his own behalf as the chair of water, forestry, and natural resources. And he has told us, including you, that they have adopted innovation, they have adopted technology by way of metering systems, efficient metering systems. And I'm sure in here, if we agreed to go that route, all the water service providers will be able to deliver better results, and we'll be able to have better impact report. Your Excellency, this afternoon before you came in, we launched the impact assessment report, or performance impact report on the service providers. And they agree that some of the things I have mentioned are issues that they need to deal with because they need to be bankable, they need to post good profits, and it is revenue. It's about revenue, also management, collection and management. So therefore, for us to achieve United Nations 2030 agenda, the African Union 2063 agenda, all those things we are talking about are key. The national government continues to support water development and management and transmission to the counties. Very many times, Your Excellency, we have finished a water development project and transmit to the county and find that the county is not prepared for a year, for 2 years, sometimes for 3 years to absorb the water by way of reticulation, Your Excellency. That is almost a criminal because we've put in money, but the county is not able to distribute the water. We have the case of Chemsus is one. We have another case in, I think, in Kajiado. These cases are there, that water is in storage tanks, and we have not been able, as counties, to be able to reticulate. We have agreed we stop territorial or habits. I want to tell you, Governor for Mombasa, my good friend, Your Excellency the Governor, the water development agencies are for development of bulk water. The water agencies then will transmit to you. At that level, let us agree that the law allows the agencies to remain the property and assets of the national government. That does not take away the mandate of the county governments in terms of distribution and service provision. The amount of work for service provision that is before you for us to reach 100% is so huge that if you were left alone and the national government cannot be able to deliver, because at the national level we do policy. Then when we come to a development agency, Your Excellency, is where we implement to develop the huge bulk water, then transmit. That's why we need the pipes. Your Excellency, I want to commend some of the people here who are doing pipe top tanks, because storage is another big problem for Kenyans. We have to learn how to store water even in our own homes. And therefore, Your Excellency, I don't want to go through the whole speech here, but I can just quickly tell you, Your Excellency, as I conclude, that the conference specific objectives were technology and innovations for the promotion of good governance in water and sanitation. The other one is how we can leverage as a government, national government, and as stakeholders in this sector, as county governments, how we can leverage on innovation, innovative financing, because we have to think ways of financing water now, especially the huge water infrastructure, and including reticulation. And then what are the market opportunities available? Because we want also to make profit in this, in this sector. Leveraging technology then means also data and information, capacity development and research, Your Excellency, for purposes of water and sanitation sector, climate change, health and environment. I think the other issue we wanted to see is how we can align this sector with the constitutional provisions, and they know that both the county government and the national government have a constitutional obligation. Your Excellency, having said that, I want to conclude by saying that we are working as a team. We are bringing our synergies together. We want to make sure everybody pulls towards the same direction. And Your Excellency, when you speak about shares, this is an area where the shares of providing water and developing that water belong to all of us, and we must make sure that everybody plays their due role and responsibility for Kenya to be at the same level with other developing countries. Your Excellency, I know even in your home region, the challenges of water continue. The climate change has been a challenge. And with those remarks, Your Excellency, we also seek your support. Your energies can help us put money into this sector. And with those statements, Your Excellency, we are also appealing to you to be able to tell His Excellency the President that we know and appreciate the efforts he has made in seeking partnership in our sector. We commend his efforts. We are fully behind his efforts and his work, and I'm sure people seated here, Your Excellency, can see even the need for taxation, for revenue collection, to be able to return back the money to where it is supposed to be. Challenge was that people drink water, service providers are not paying the government, we apply resources and there is no return. We are looking forward to a changed attitude. Your Excellency, I want to take this opportunity now. You had said 5 o'clock you will not be in this room. Your Excellency, we have exceeded, but this is your opportunity, Your Excellency. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to invite His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, and a warm applause for him as he takes the stage. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. The Cabinet Secretary, Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, the Honorable Alice Wahome, aka the Iron Lady, the Chairperson of the Committee on Water, the Governor Modime, our host, Your Excellency, the Governor of Mombasa City, Sheriff Nasil Jr., the Principal Secretary is present, the chairpersons of water and sanitation providers, the CEOs of various agencies, our partners, exhibitors, the Honorable Mukurino present in his sitting, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I bring you warm greetings and regards from President William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, who was invited here by the Honorable Alice Wahome to come and officially open this very important conference. But due to exigencies of duty, he tasked me to come on his behalf and open the conference, and gave me a speech which I'll read without adding or subtracting even a comma. We hold this conference and exhibition today, 7 years to the deadline of Agenda 2030 of the Sustainable Development Goals. Under this agenda, we committed to deliver on Goal 6 on access to safe and clean water. We also gather here to discuss integration of technology in increasing access to safe water for domestic and commercial use. The convening takes place a few months after one of the longest droughts in 40 years in Kenya's history, and indeed in the history of the Horn of Africa. Among other negative effects, the drought diminished water levels at source, the drying of vegetation, leading to human suffering and death of domestic and wild animals. Short-term measures like water tracking were highly unpredictable, unreliable, insufficient, and unsustainable. The future of our children was at stake. They could not go to school hungry and thirsty. Thousands of others were malnourished. With the support of our development partners and international friends, we spend tens of billions of Kenya shillings, not for development, but in life-saving measures. Distinguished guests, the drought was not a traditional dry season. It was a manifestation of the climate change. Climate change and its negative effects are no longer a concept. Climate change is a reality. It is with us here. And unless we act and act swiftly, the human existence is under threat and can no longer be guaranteed. Distinguished guests, we must make bold decisions, even if they are unpopular, to save our planet. That is why we have to protect our water catchment areas, especially forests like the Mau Complex and other forests in the Republic. The life of the nation is bigger than pursuit of personal short-time endeavors. Close to 90% of our country is arid and semi-arid. These lands are home to at least 16 million Kenyans, hence the urgent need to increase our forest cover. We are taking measures to restore depleted or destroyed water towers alongside our plan of planting 15 billion trees by the year 2032. Distinguished guests, on the other hand, formal and informal houses built on riparian land and other wetlands will not be spared. While manufacturing is one of the Kenya Kwanza pillars of uplifting our people from poverty to economic prosperity, will ensure effluents do not endanger access to clean and safe water downstream. The Nairobi Rivers Commission has started the work of restoring the rivers of our city and its environs. This will progressively be replicated in major towns across the country based on the lessons learned from the Nairobi Rivers Commission. Meanwhile, distinguished guests, Kenyans must take it upon themselves to support our efforts of protecting water towers and reservoirs. Those at the grassroots are frontline soldiers in conserving these water sources. Last Thursday, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, presented the maiden Kenya Kwanza administration's budget. It was an important moment in the implementation of our plan. We commit to sustainable development of our nation. Safe and clean water is a denominator in every pillar of the plan. This conference, therefore, is timely in exploring strategies of riding on technology and innovation to spur progress in achievement of SDG 6. Indeed, access to clean and safe water will ensure sustainable health, agriculture, housing, education, safe environment, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, this exhibition have displays deployment of technology from which we will borrow heavily and integrate into the implementation of the plan. Our interaction with other stakeholders at this conference will help identify gaps and relevant tech-based solutions. Distinguished guests, delivering access to safe water is no mean task. Current water connectivity stands at 3 million. We want to double the number in the next 5 years through upscaling investment in infrastructure. In this regard, we are seeking more public-private partnerships for technical and financial support, especially in construction of tens of dams across the country. We invite more investors to our great nation to work with us in this regard. Distinguished guests, to this end, I would like to thank the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, led by Honorable Alice Wahome, the Council of Governors, our host county government of Mombasa, the Water Services Providers Association and partners, exhibitors, among others, for organizing this very important and successful conference. It is now my duty and honor to declare Kenya Water and Sanitation International Conference and Exhibition 2023 officially open. Asante sana. Hiyo ilikuwa ya mdoso, wacha niseme yangu kidogo. Sababu nikiondoka hapa bila kusema kitu itakuwa ni makosa. CS Alice Wahome, I want to commend you and your team for the way you are steering the water sector. This ministry is extremely important in our country, given the negative effects of the climate change. The very existence of our nation is not guaranteed. Interventions to combat the effects of climate change are no longer a choice. It's a necessity and a must. That is why the Ruto administration has made it a priority to come up with interventions on how to move away from rain-fed agriculture to irrigation. This administration has made deliberate plans to reach out to investors on the public-private partnership model to harness resources from everywhere in the world to come here and sink boreholes, build water ponds, build small dams, and build mega dams for the purposes of making water available to every Kenyan, clean and safe water. At the same time, we want to partner with our friends and investors to open up northern Kenya, those vast lands, by building dams to have irrigation, to produce enough food and achieve our food security and make sure that we don't have again to go around with a begging bowl to our friends, especially those who colonized us, begging for food. It's very, very demeaning for us in this country. Our African traditions take very little opinion of begging. But because of the negative effects of climate change, President William Ruto assigned me the duty to harness resources to buy food and save livelihoods. And I became beggar number one. It was a very humiliating experience. So I want to ask the stakeholders here to dignify me in future, because the president, if we don't make interventions, is likely to assign me the same role. Though I could request him next time to assign it to Alice Wahome if she doesn't make the necessary interventions. And that brings me to the question of the public-private partnership. President William Ruto, since ascending to the high office 9 months ago, has traveled the width and breadth of the world, seeking partnerships, looking for investors to come and bring money in this country, partner with the government to build dams, water ponds, sink boreholes, and assist us to deal with the effects of climate change. But our detractors, the ones we defeated at the ballot, have connived with the press, especially the nation newspapers, to belittle the efforts of the president, because the nation newspapers and the other press were part and parcel of the Azimio Brigade. And they are still living in denial. They are the heck and beck of the opposition to try to belittle the government and to try to bring the government of William Ruto down by creating a false narrative. Yesterday, they carried a headline that President William Ruto, for the 9 months he has been in office, he has used 3 times what his predecessor, President Uhuru Kenyatta, used during the same period. And that is very true. In fact, 3 times is not enough. That is true. What they did not tell the country, and they can't do so because they are subjective, and they are part of the scheme to belittle President William Ruto and the government. What they should have done is do an analysis of what President Uhuru Kenyatta did in those 9 months. How many countries did he travel to? How many local travels did he do? If they were honest to do analysis, they will find that within the 9 months, President William Ruto has done 8 times what President Uhuru Kenyatta did, and hence the escalation of the budget. But that one they cannot do. The other day, they wrote another screaming headline that President William Ruto is micromanaging his government, and were complaining that he is hands-on. I've never heard anywhere in the world where anybody would have a problem with a hands-on CEO of any institution. All institutions that are known to be successful, all organizations that are known to have made a difference, they are those organizations that are led by a CEO who has a hands-on style of management. But our press have a problem with that. They are still in denial. We ask you to move from the denial stage to the one of acceptance. William Ruto is the President of the Republic of Kenya. He defeated you and your project, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can just wait for your time and make another bid. And these people, I must say, are shameless. They try every day to create a wedge in our government that does not exist. The other day, they wrote a headline in Taifa Leo, Ruto amkata Gachagua kucha. Now, when you look at that headline, it has no basis. It's totally obsolete and misplaced. They were trying to create an impression that the president and I have a problem. I want to tell you, the media, you are going to wait for a long time, and you'll be disappointed. There will be no cracks in this government. This is a very solid government with leaders who have been brought together by a plan. Leaders who have been brought together by some commitment to work for the people of Kenya. The president and I and the rest of us, all our ministers, are all pulling in the same direction. We all see things the same way. So don't try to create problems where there are none. After they failed in that one, they wrote another one page. The Prime Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi, and the Deputy President are having a tussle. Again, pure nonsense. Something that is baseless. Just trying to poke holes in our administration. Because they have found that we have found a formula to turn around the economy of this country. I want to assure you, the nation newspapers, I don't want, whereas I agree with Moses Kuria, that you have become rogue and you are part of the Azimio brigade of trying to bring down the government. I don't agree with what he has suggested, that we stop advertising with you. We shouldn't, because we are democracy and we should be able to allow you to continue doing your job. Ours is to call you out. When you go overboard, we must tell you on the face. That is a strategy. But we also advise you, instead of hiding, why don't you convert yourself into a political party and then join the Azimio coalition? And then you can face us in politics, which is not your line. I want to conclude by saying, no amount of negative publicity, no amount of demonstrations, no amount of wearing sufurias on the head will distract President William Ruto from service delivery. The president has a mandate from the people of Kenya to turn around their lives. The president has a social contract of 5 years to improve the economy of this country, restore the dignity of the Kenyan people, put money into people's pockets, and uplift their standards of living. That is a commitment that he took the Bible at Kasarani on 13th of September and swore before God and before man to do so. You can continue shouting from the rooftop. You can continue writing screaming headlines. You can continue creating false narratives. And I must tell you, because it's important that I do, so that you don't confuse the people of Kenya. When we came into government, there was no sufficient foreign exchange to buy fuel, where we require about $500 million every month. And as a result, the Kenya shilling became very weak. And the dollar was going to 140, 141, 145, headed to 150 shillings per dollar. Had President William Ruto and his government not intervened through a government-to-government arrangement where we get fuel on a 6-month credit period to cushion the shilling from further sliding down, reduce the need for the shilling, therefore to stabilize the shilling, the dollar today would be at 200 shillings. But that single intervention by government has stabilized the dollar at about 135 shillings. And things are even getting better. And as we proceed with the interventions that are being made, and we thank God for the good rains, we expect a bumper harvest, we expect surplus food, we expect the dollar will go downwards. But you are carrying a headline to say that that is a scandal. Stopping the sliding of the shilling against the dollar to levels that are unprecedented in this country, you find that as scandalous. Because this press would have wished, together with Azimio, the dollar to go to 200 shillings so that you can criticize the president and the government. You will not be allowed. And we'll call you out every day. Any story you write that is false, We'll give you facts the same day, the ones I'm giving you today. Niendelee nisiendelee? Wacha nimalizie hapo kwa sababu sitaki kuharibu hii mkutano mzuri. Otherwise, I want to say thank you very much. Good people. I've seen there is a deputy president here. There's a cabinet secretary. There are 3 governors. There are principal secretaries. There are engineers. There are all stakeholders and investors. And in addition, we have a Mokorino in the house. So I want, on behalf of the president, to welcome our international friends to Kenya. We want to say karibuni sana. This is a beautiful country with very warm people. Forget about what I'm saying to this press. When we are talking about the Kenyans people, we are not bothered about them. And they cannot write that, what I'm saying, that we have got a good country. And we invite you to sample our best. The coast beaches are exotic, white sand, the best. And I want you to take advantage of your presence in this city. Move around, sample the best of Mombasa. Of course, we'll whisper to you a few areas you shouldn't sample. But what is good is available. If you get time before you go back, fly to the Masai Mara, the 8th wonder of the world, and see our livestock, our wild animals, sorry. Najua kijiji yangu anapiga mambo ya maziwa. I am working on daily milk reforms. Go and see the elephant, the rhino, the lion, the tiger, the cheetah. But please don't play with the lion because we need you around to invest in water. So if you play around with the lion, we could lose an investor and we don't want to do so. So please, welcome to this great country, the Honorable Alice Wahome and your team. We want to thank you for this very successful conference. We want to thank you for the interventions you are making in the water sector. And I am sure in another year or so, we shall have clean and safe water. We shall have water for irrigation, and we'll have successfully mitigated the negative effects of climate change. I want to thank you. May God bless you and bless you abundantly. Thank you. Asanteni sana.